I'm going to introduce. Hello. So we decided that we should have another conversation with you guys live this week because of what's happening with Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death and the subsequent nomination of a replacement. So there's been a lot of stuff happening this week, and we thought we should talk to you guys about that and kind of offer some words of encouragement, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's when we heard the news yesterday, I tend to be more emotional than you do, and I always feel like if my rights are being threatened, I get that kind of feeling like I'm being bullied, and that's very uncomfortable. So we started talking about how we can address this, and we saw that many other people that are our friends and are like-minded are kind of feeling the same way. Mm-hmm. So we just want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. There's the concerns are real. First of all, we all know that these concerns are real, but we need to try not to panic. Something that's happening on a lot of different fronts related to the election, now related to this, the election process itself, is that fear is kind of a tactic it's called a strongman tactic. There's a lot of efforts to make us very uncomfortable about the election being taken over, mm-hmm. and not being valid, and there's a whole bunch of there's a lot of fear mongering going on, and we need to stay calm, first of all. So a couple of things related to this week's news. First of all, this person who has been nominated, there's a lot of fear that the depth of her conservative views would be have an immediate impact on some existing rulings, Supreme Court rulings. So, First of all, she may not be confirmed. We'll have to see. There's a lot of questions about how that process is going to happen. Second, she may judge cases regardless of her personal stance, she may judge cases according to the Constitution and according to legal precedent. So, there are judges who put their political stances aside and judge based solely on law, solely on the Constitution and legal precedent, which is what kind of law is all about. I'm glad I don't do it because it sounds terribly boring. We've already seen some instances that have come through since Judge Kavanaugh took the bench where he did not rule on the side of like a political stance.
Along party lines, right?
Yeah. So, we don't need to panic because it's possible that it won't be a purely political person, purely political decisions. Then, a lot of people are concerned about Roe v. Wade and gay marriage rulings being overturned. And so one thing that's important to remember about that is that even if it happens, that just means that we return to where those laws are in effect at a state level rather than a national level. So it's not as if all of a sudden gay people won't be able to get married. It's obviously nothing we want to have happen. But this is not sudden emergency mode. We don't need to be panicking.
Right. I think that the part about remaining calm, I think, is really important. I mean, yesterday I was losing it. I was like, oh dear God, this is the end of the world, and my wife is kind of my anchor. She calms me down. But mm-hmm. I think it's really important also to tell somebody what your concerns are. You have to speak it and talk to somebody who's in your tribe. They can help you feel better about it. It is not the end of the world. It feels like it at first, but it isn't, and we will get through it. I think that a very important thing to do is to not withdraw. I do believe that political party wants you not to vote. I mean, that's my personal opinion. They want to scare you and make you think that it's impossible, that you can't win, that they're too powerful. So this is the time to rally people to vote what they believe in, and to help them figure out how to do that if they're not registered. If they are registered and they haven't voted before, encourage them. Vote. Have a plan and what to do in that situation. Present a united front to people in a calm manner. I think you have to really discuss this calmly. You just when you're angry and you freak out, people just don't listen to you as much. But if you're calm and you have facts on your side and you ask questions, a conversation always flows better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's also important to contact your senators and let them know, particularly Republican senators, let them know what your opinions are. And if we were formerly Republicans for decades.
Yeah, we were.
And if that's the case for you, then it's also important to tell them that you were a Republican for a long time, and you certainly can't vote that way now based on all of the things that we've been seeing happening in the Senate from the Republican base. So, contacting your senators and House members really does make a difference. So, and there's tons of easy ways to do that. I think we'll probably have some resources to help make that easier for you.
Yeah, I'll post those later.
Yeah, and Dolce mentioned these listening conversations. It's hard for me to think that people are in the middle right now, that it seems like the nation is so divided and it seems like there are really only two views. But no, there probably are people who are kind of in the middle, and having, like you said, having conversations and sharing your reality in a non-angry way. This was something that Chasten Buttigieg tweeted this week, was talking about how to have conversations with people and just sharing your reality and sharing your concerns in a calm way, in a non-inflammatory way, and a non-divisive way to get away from the name-calling and the pettiness that we see at extremely high levels in politics right now. So kind of trying to move away from that and being calm and measured.
At the same point, I think you have to realize that there are going to be some people that you just are not going to change their mind. It's like talking to a wall. It's just not going to happen. And doing that, you're really just hurting yourself. So kind of know where your boundaries are, when to pull back, and just let go of that. Maybe you've planted a gentle seed and walk away from those situations.
Do you have any more tangible things before I go on? Zoom out of the micro and into the macro.
I don't think so. I think not withdrawing and convincing and helping people vote. I mean, there's a lot of voters who just did not vote. They just thought that what was going to happen the way it was going to happen. This time we need to vote. One vote makes a really big difference.
Well, and at every level too.
Yeah.
Vote at every level.
Every single level.
Yeah. So we can't assure you. It'd be nice if people could say, "Oh, everything is going to be fine." Well, clearly there's a good chance that everything is not going to be fine. Our nation is in a mess right now, and there is so much ugliness, and so there is no way to assure any of us that everything is going to be fine short term. But we can remind ourselves of the deep, abiding presence of the divine within each person. Even the ones spewing ugliness, that many of those folks are just trapped in the realities of their minds and the constraints. And Richard Rohr, I was just reading something about from him this morning, was talking about it being that because there's this divinity in all of us, this presence of the Holy Spirit, the presence of Christ in each of us, that when people are so trapped in trapped in. Okay.
And we're back.
I think we're back. Sorry, there was a little interruption there, it said, so we just kept going. But so I was saying that the people who are trapped in darkness and focusing on creating fear and division and anger and hatred, it's like Jesus being trapped in the tomb. But the wonder is that there is hope of resurrection, right? There is hope, and there is Christ there inside of them, being trapped by this the darkness of the world. Remember also that nations rise and fall, and movements for justice, they gain momentum and then they lose their forward motion. This is just a cycle that happens over and over again. Right. So Thomas Merton said, "No despair of ours can alter the reality of things, nor stain the joy of the cosmic dance, which is always there." So we don't have reassurance that things will be kind of all right with our country, but we do have the reassurance of knowing that there is joy in this cosmic dance that's happening. So these forces of darkness want us to despair right now, but despair changes nothing. Oh, and then there was this is a passage from John 14. It's Jesus speaking, John 14, verse 27. And he says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." So our peace we try to pass along to you today. Don't let this strong man tactic of fear win. And remember the presence of God within everyone. Do what it is within your power, like we were talking about last week or the week before, about knowing what you can and can't change.
Right.
And try to open yourself to Christ's peace, which is present despite all of this. So those are our words of encouragement and calls to action for you today. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, I think just know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
We're in the same place that you are, the same challenges and the same emotions. Know that we are praying for you and that we care and our hearts feel what you're feeling. So.
Yeah. And do some praying for our nation.
Yeah.
All that positive energy rising up makes a difference. So we love you. Hang in there. Hang in there. It may not be good in the short term, but it is wonderful in the big term, the universe, okay? All is well. So you take good care. We will talk to you on Friday.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.